That should be good. Oh, we got lots of people. All
We've
right
got 13.
then. I don't know if I'm alive. I'm alive. Yes, I might be live. Good morning, everybody. I am. Yeah, I'm going to assume I'm live. So, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Spirit World Sees All. First of all, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who is to my right side, who I have to tell you did an awesome job the other day with something. I might tell you later. We'll see. But an awesome job, as he always does. I have Kachoro, who's in the corner, sound asleep. For those of you who are interested, he's eating better. Um, and I've tried a new food of a kind, anyway, some kind, so he's eating better for now, anyway, you know. But and of course, da 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 da, we have Michelle remotely. Uh, I think you're coming back soon, aren't you, Michelle?
Gosh, I hope so. I'm going crazy in this house.
So hopefully, maybe next week or sometime anyway, we shall see Michelle live because we want to do some more stuff in the kitchen. And I really want to, you know, the problem with doing stuff in the kitchen, I have no idea how to rig up my own camera and all the rest of it. But I have to tell you, I don't know if any of you have seen old Gordo, who is my favourite. I know you're going to throw your hands up and say, that man who curses, he swears, he uses the F word, which means F for food, by the way. But yes, he can be naughty. But he is really my greatest, well, I'm his greatest fan. He is an amazing, amazing chef. He's got a really fantastic personality, and if you don't listen to the F words, you'll thoroughly enjoy him. But he's doing these. I think it's because of COVID, but it's fantastic. He's having a great time. Look at me, I'm advertising him. But he's doing these 5 minutes or 10 minute, make a curry in 10 minutes or something. Make fish and chips in 10 minutes. And I watched the fish and chip thing the other day. Now, I'm British. We make fish and chips. We all make fish and chips all the time. But, you know, fish shop batter on a fish and chips. If anybody English is out there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Fish shop fish, the batter on it is just, just, and just fabulous, and you really can't quite get it. And I've been cooking fish and chips for hundreds of years. You know, I'm hundreds of years old. I've been cooking fish and chips for so long. Anyway, I watched his 10-minute video, and all of a sudden, there it was, that little magic ingredient that pops the batter and makes it just like fish shop batter. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go to Gordon Ramsay's 10-minute fish and chips. He's amazing. He's amazing, and he's very funny. And he does not curse once on these 10-minute videos. Just so you know, because his kids are there with him, his family's there, and it's just such a lot of fun being in his kitchen. Anyway, why did I get on to fish and chips? Oh, I know. We've been cooking. Michelle and I have been talking about making flatbread. So yes, and being in the kitchen when Michelle comes, I'm going to be making a rosemary flatbread. Not me, a rosemary flatbread. How about that? We're going to chop up some fresh rosemary and mix it in, and see what we can do with a rosemary flatbread. I have a feeling it's just going to be I have a feeling it's going to be really good. But we shall see. But I shall hopefully we'll be doing that in Rosemary's Kitchen. Right. Enough of all of that nonsense. Michelle. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I know that we've got people commenting. When I first switched on, there seemed to be a whole bunch of comments going on. So over to you.
Okay, well, there's a lot of good mornings. Wendy's on, Jan is on, Judy is on, Dean is on, and Randy is on. He says he hasn't been on for a while, but he wanted to jump on and share some love and wishes to everyone. And he says that you look fabulous and that you're inspiring him to bedazzle his wardrobe today.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm glad. Randy, go for it. Just, just go for it. Thank you. Thank you. What should I say? What? This old thing? I have to tell you that I've got clothes in my wardrobe, closet, whatever it is you want to call it. I've got clothes that are at least, oh dear, dare I tell you, I've got some things that are 30 years old. And I bring them out, and you would never know. I'm so careful with my clothes anyway. I'm so careful with my laundry. I'm very, very particular. I sort of take care of my stuff. And there are so many classic designs that you can buy that just never go out of date. They never ever go out of date. This thing is it's a paisley thing, and so I don't know how old it is, to be honest with you, but so many times people will say to me, oh, where did you buy that, or where did you get that? And I can't remember because they're so old. So go into your closets, everybody, and do a revamp. If they're looking old and tired, take a look at how you do your laundry, would you? Just, because that makes a huge difference. I see people throwing everything in all at one time, darks, lights, everything. That's not me. But anyway, gosh, we're in the kitchen, we're in the laundry room. What are we going to talk about next? Bed making. I know. All right, right, Michelle, you're up.
Dean would like to know if we finished off all the chocolate cherries.
Oh gosh, no. Look, nobody comes in and out. Michelle doesn't like chocolate anyway, although you do like those, don't you, Michelle?
They're good.
Sort of. But why would I give them to somebody who says, well, they're okay? Mary Lou doesn't like them. I'm so pleased. Nobody likes them. Maggie sent me a box of sort of dark chocolate liquid cherries, which are fantastic. They are delicious, and she sends them to me every now and again. Bless you, Maggie. And they're gone because there are only about 6 maybe or 7 in a box. Well, they're done with. But the dark chocolate cherries, what I have to do with them is, if I keep them in the refrigerator, I am less likely to pick at them. But if I leave them on the counter to sort of go nice and soft, and the cherries go nice and soft, well, then I'm dipping in all the time. But no, I don't think I've even eaten half a pound of them yet. Then, as I'm not a huge chocolate eater, I do like specifically dark chocolate, and I do like specifically dark chocolate cherries. But I'm not a huge chocolate eater, and I'll eat, at Easter time. We always used to have Easter eggs in England. We have Easter eggs, and we have these nice big Easter eggs, and my daughter would eat hers, my partner, whoever would eat their, everybody in the house would eat theirs, and I would eat it, and I was still 6 months later, I still got Easter egg left. But I love it, but I like it in, sort of increments, is what I like. And whereas most people, you'll think I'm really weird now, Dean, when most people will put a whole thing in their mouth. I can't do that because I feel as if I've got too much in my mouth, I feel like I'm suffocating. So I'll just take little bites, little bits. Oh, I'm such a delicate little flower. Keep going, Michelle. Ignore me this morning. I don't know what's the matter with me. My back is out. I'm having to, if you see me wriggling, everybody, it's because I can't get comfortable because my back is out, and ow. And keep going. Just pretend I'm not moaning and complaining. Why don't you do that?
Ornella's on, and she says, a warm welcome. How can we defend ourselves from other people's wickedness, even knowing that sometimes we can all be bad? Thank you.
Oh, that's a good question, Anna, and good morning to you. I think that we have to remember that when people, sort of try to influence us, or when people are mean to us, or whatever the situation is, the first time it can take you unawares. The second, the third, the fourth, and so on time. Hold on here just a second. You can't blame other people if you buy into their stuff. You are responsible for your own self. You are responsible for your own way of thinking and your own way of feeling. So it's a question of, understanding that people can only do to you now, not in a criminal level. We're not talking that way, but in general terms, people can only do to you what you allow them to do. So, for instance, if you have a mother who's always poking and prodding and being mean, as my mother was, if I allowed it to get to me, obviously as a kid I had no choice, but as you grow older, if you allow these things to get to you, if you allow this person to have power over you, you are the one allowing it. You are the one who's allowing it to affect you. And even years later, I sit with people who complain and moan about what their mother did and what their father did and what so-and-so said and what such and such said years and years and years ago. So you have to sort of understand that it's you who needs to change your attitude, and you who needs to understand that you have the power to cut that person off. You have the power. If you can't cut them off, you don't want to cut them off, you still have the power to say, oh, this is her problem, her issue. I'm not going to let this her meanness affect me, because this is who she is, but it's not who I am. So very often, my darling, we are in charge if we allow ourselves. But when you let other people dictate your mood or dictate the way you're feeling, you literally, what you're doing is you're handing all of your power over to them, and you're allowing them to use you and to walk all over you. So stop. If you can't get away from them, you live in the house with them or what have you, you can still, everything is in the mind here. Don't allow them to make you cry. Don't allow them to get to you. Don't keep questioning why are they so mean. At a certain point, it's because that's who they are. It doesn't mean you have to embrace their meanness. Just walk away from it. That's what you need to do. Hope that helps. Yes, Michelle, keep going.
Wendy says, Judy and I are English. We crave fish and chips.
Well, hey, Gordon Ramsay has this 10-minute video. It's brilliant. You've got to sort of, he talks so fast and everything, but he gives you all of the ingredients. He shows you exactly how to do it. And there's this little thing I didn't know anything about that you put into batter if you want it to sort of fluff up and pop up and be nice and crispy, just like real fish shop fish and chips. And that little ingredient might be baking soda. You never know. Take a look. He's amazing. And I bought some fish this weekend, and guess what I'm having for my dinner? Fish and chips.
I'm coming to your house.
Oh, there's not enough. Sorry, Michelle, there's not enough fish. I thought I'm definitely going to try this, so that's what I'm having for. I'll let you know how it works out, but I'm pretty sure, because I know about, I'm a cook, so I know how these things affect things, and I'm pretty sure that is that one. I love watching cooking shows. I love watching shows that are informative, like this show is, because there are sometimes you've heard it all before, you've done this or you've made that or what have you, but then you get a chef tip, like if you listen to Gordon Ramsay, not the naughty stuff, but if you listen to any good chef, that all of a sudden they'll give you that one little tip that you didn't know about, but now makes all the difference to your cooking. And that one little tip happened to be the baking soda this time around. So I'm definitely going to try that. and see what happens. And I'm excited to do it because I know it's going to work. I absolutely know that it's going to work, and my fish and chips are going to be the best ever. Next.
Adrienne would like to know. First, she says, "Good morning."
Good morning, Adrian.
And then she says, "Since you are able to connect to the other side, are you able to sit and just have conversations with family or friends that have passed whenever you want?"
Yes. Yes. Yes, I do. Well, as we're talking food and everything as well, I rarely am in the kitchen without talking to Grey Eagle and saying, especially if I'm cooking for other people, because I don't do it so much now. I'm sort of on my own, and when nobody's coming to the house anymore because of all this stuff that's going on. But if there are so many things that I'll cook for other people that I personally can't eat or don't eat. I can't eat berries. I can't eat nuts. I mean, poor me. I mean, look at this. I can't eat spinach. I can't eat broccoli and so on. So lots and lots of things that I actually are actually dangerous for me to eat. But that doesn't mean, though, that I'm not going to make them for other people. It also doesn't mean I don't cheat from time to time also, but I can't remember the last time I had a spinach leaf or a piece of broccoli, but still, I do cheat somewhat from time to time, but not very often. So when I'm in the kitchen, if I'm making something for someone else and I can't taste it, or rather not taste it for whatever reason, then I rely on Grey Eagle. Is there enough salt in that? What do you think? Is there enough sugar in this? What do you think to this and this? And we're back and forth. I mean, I talk to him like I would talk to anyone in my house if I had a visitor, or if my friends were here and I was cooking, I'd be saying, "Oh, just taste that and see what you think to that," or this, and so on and so forth. And that's what I do with those in the spirit world. And my daddy is also from time to time in the kitchen, intruding in the kitchen, should I say, because he cooked the best roast ever. He really knew how to cook a roast. I never really saw him cook anything else, but he really knew how to cook a roast. And every now and again, especially if I'm cooking a roast, a beef or something, uh, I'll hear him say, tap me on the shoulder, "You forgot this," or, "Oh, good job. That's exactly how I would do it." So yes, it's a normal, natural process, which is why people often say to me, "What's it like? Isn't your life a bit crowded? Don't you get a bit busy all the time with all these people around you?" And people have a really, really hard time understanding what it must be like to live this way, and to rarely be alone or on your own. Um, on the other side of things, I look at you. I look at all of you who don't see. I look at all of you who don't have that communication, or not as readily as I do. And I look at all of you and I think to myself, my goodness, it don't you find it a bit lonely? Um, aren't you? You know, how how do you deal with that? Not being able to connect, not being able to communicate. It has to, from my point of view, I wonder, is it lonely? Is it, because I've never had it. I can't remember, even as a little girl, I cannot remember when there wasn't someone from the spirit world sort of hanging around and chatting and so on. Of course, as a child, it used to terrify me, but I do wonder when people say to me, "Oh, gosh, isn't it a bit crowded in your life? What's it like always?" But on the other side of things, I look at you all and I think, gosh, it's got to be terrible. It's got to be awful. It's got to be when you're worried, or if you're concerned, or if you're upset about something, or if you're joyful about something, you've got no one to share it with. I think I told you all last week, on my birthday morning, I woke up and every single light in the house was on, and my lights don't switch on by themselves. Every light in every room was on, and I didn't notice at first. I thought I'd forgotten to switch off the light over the TV. I thought, it's usually the last thing I do. Um, I must have forgotten. And then I looked, and the lamp in my living room, which I never turn on, I'm sitting there heating my cornflakes, talking to a friend of mine in England, and I look, I think it's my lamp on there. And then I went into the guest room, and the lights are blazing everywhere, all over the place. The lights are blazing all over the house. Um, and I just thought that was just lovely, because my it's Grey Eagle's way, and my daddy's way, and all of those people in the spirit world who I love and who I miss. It's their way of lighting the way for me, because they knew I would be on my own for my birthday, and they were going to make sure that no, you're not on your own. You absolutely know that you're not. Let's have a next question, Michelle.
All right. The next one is from Ornella, and she would like to know, who is that baby in the photo behind you?
Oh, which one can you see? Oh, that's me. Not the baby. That's me holding the baby. That baby is my daughter. I think there was a photographer who I was at an event somewhere or another. It might have been a wedding or something. I don't know. And we were just guests. And that photo was taken. I was completely unaware of the fact that it was taken. We were just guests at a wedding. And then a friend of mine called me and said, "Did you know there's a massive big picture of you in so and so's window?" There was a big photography company. They had a big sort of fairly good sized shop, and there was a big picture window, and apparently smack in the middle of this window was this photograph that I didn't even know had been taken. She said, "Did you know that there's a photo of you and Samantha in the window?" And I went and looked at it, and it was like this huge thing. And so I went in, and he gave me one of these. In fact, if I can wriggle myself over, I'll show it to you a bit clearer. Hold on a minute. If I can I? Oh, see, I'm never going to move again now. Might be dusty. Oh gosh, excuse me. But I can show it to you. So that's me. Can you recognize me? And that is my darling daughter Samantha. And that photo was famous in our town. When I say famous, it was in there for about 3 months, I think, in the window. And obviously the photographer was very taken with it, and I'm very taken with it. So that's myself and my daughter, and I think she was probably maybe 3 months old at that time. Next.
All right, the next one is from Dean.
Yes, Dean, good morning.
It says, do people in the spirit world instantly know the life story of those they talk to in the spirit world, or do they just gather a general feeling of the person's aura?
What? Don't get
it. If you and I were in the spirit world and I was talking to you, would I be able to know your life story just by talking to you, or would I just get a feeling from you?
No, but I was saying this to someone just the other day. Somebody said to me, actually, when I die, I'm not going to step into the light because I've done some awful things. I just don't want to. And I laughed because this person was absolutely gorgeous, lovely person. And I said, you won't help yourself. You'll be drawn to the light because you are so full of light your own self. But what happens is that, when with our etheric body, our spirit body, there's no hiding who we are. So if we are, if we've been mean, or if we're still mean, or still having awful thoughts or so on, you can't hide your thoughts. So if you meet someone and you think, oh gosh, what an ugly dress, not that you would think that, but I'm just sort of trying to give you an example. It would be written right there. You would not be able to hide your thoughts or your feelings about a person. That they say that it's all about the light, and the light illuminates, and it illuminates us to the point where we see ourselves very clearly, which is a great thing because, very often we're in denial of who we are or who we have been. But when we really see ourselves, it can be quite horrifying. I'm sure we're all going to have those, oh God, did I really do that? Or did I really think that? Or so none of us is perfect. But I think that it's a really great thing because if we can really honestly look at ourselves and really see who we are and really, really see, the light and the aura that shines within us, then the things that we don't like about ourselves we can correct, and with perhaps with some work, but nevertheless we can correct. But if we're unaware of ourselves, for instance, if we're unaware that we're bossy, because so many people are unaware that they're bossy, um, or they'd rather just not think about it, then when we leave this earth plane, there is no hiding, not from ourselves or from anybody else, who and what we are. So it's not about knowing all of the intricate little details of our life and our life story, although there will be people in the spirit world, our teachers, those of us who are wiser than we are, our guides, our helpers, our angels, who will absolutely know our life story. Yeah. I like that question.
All right, the next one is from Cheryl.
Morning,
And
Cheryl.
Cheryl said, why did my uncle tell people he had no family before he passed? No one ever told my sister and I he had even passed until much later, and I had to keep asking via email.
Oh, Cheryl, I'm sorry that that happened to you, but right now, no, I've no idea, and I think it's too long a situation to go into. So let's hope he had his reasons, but it's a bit of a betrayal. So you must feel that he, by denying you, that he betrayed you a little bit. But maybe he had his reasons, and don't go judging or getting upset until you really know the reasons why. Let's have another question, Michelle.
Nathan asks,
Morning,
do
Nathan.
souls in the spirit world dream like we do while they're physical, and is the dream reality the same?
Wow, I've never been asked that question before. I'm referring it to Great Eagle. So all right, so our dreams and our fantasies, and yes, we have them even when we've passed into the spirit world, maybe even more so in some ways, because our world gets bigger, there are more possibilities, there are more opportunities, so our dreams and our fantasies perhaps take on a different form, but yes, and yes, I think yes, I'm going to leave that as a yes. Moving on.
The next one is from Matthew, and he says, good morning, Rosemary. You look beautiful again today.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do. And then his question is...
Okay, Matthew, I'm ready. Getting myself revved up for this.
I have spirit orbs of my dead dogs in my home.
Oh.
If I ever have to move from this house, how do I ensure that they come with me to my new home? I don't want to have to leave them here.
Matthew, how lucky you are. How lovely. And they won't, no, darling. They're not in the house. They're with you. Wherever you are, that's where they will be. So you're not going to be leaving them behind, because they wouldn't be left behind. You must have loved your puppies so much, and obviously they must have loved you so much too. Ooh, lovely. Let me see. My darling Nino, he was a beautiful boy. He died, actually died in New York State, but I was in Vermont at the time, living in Vermont at the time. But I often see him here with me in Florida. No, not so often, but my lovely little Rosie, who was, she was so lovely. she died in Vermont, and I see her often, and I'm in Florida. So what I'm trying to say to you is, wherever you are, that's where they'll be. They won't stay in the house. It is your energy that they're attached to, and wherever you are, they will be with you. Don't worry, darling. That I like the question, but don't worry.
All right, our next one is from Missy.
Morning, Missy.
Says, hi, Rosemary. How do we know when to call our relationship quits and when to try to work it out and stay together? Can the spirit assist us? Thank you.
Yes. Well, actually, the first thing I want to refer to is the book Soul Signs. And I don't know, Missy, if you've read Soul Signs, but I'm going to suggest that if you read Soul Signs, that will give you a really, really clear picture of who you are and what it is that you need in your life. And it will give you a really, really clear picture of what you need in a partner. And it also gives you clear pictures of every kind of relationship, children, parents, grandparents, friends, so on and so forth. I did laugh because I was talking to somebody the other day who was telling me that she was explaining soul signs to her new boyfriend, and she said he's either a prophet soul or he is a visionary soul. So I said, well, hold on just a second. He can't be, you can't be either or, because one of them is an earth sign and one of them is an air sign. And here is the rule with soul signs. There are 13 soul signs to choose from. Do not go through them one at a time and say, well, that sounds like, because what you'll be doing is you'll be saying at least 3 or 4 times out of the 12, well, that sounds like me. Well, that sounds like me, because in truth, as human beings, we all have very similar traits, and we all have very similar, behavioral patterns and so on. It is the energy that drives us that determines how we use those traits and what we do with them and whether we suppress them and so on and so forth. So first and foremost, if you do get the book Soul Signs, and if you email us, Michelle will tell you exactly where to go to get it. Email us rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. It is the most amazing book for relationships. It will tell you which is your most compatible, and it will tell you which is your most incompatible. It explains all of those relationships. Why did my mother love my brother more than she loved me? Why did my father, what was it between my parents that really just created all of that angst? It explains everything about that, and it helps us to understand that, so often it's not our fault when something goes wrong. It's very often the fact that we're just mixing with an energy that is not right for us. And so no matter how much we try to fix it, if the energy is wrong, it's not going to work out. So where was I going with this? So here is the rule with soul signs. Instead of looking, because everybody's curious, want to check on all of the signs. Before you do that, here is the golden rule. First, find your soul group. Are you earth? Are you air? Are you water? Are you, I missed one, fire? Or are you a dark soul? Dark souls probably will not read this book. Or they might, because they can learn about themselves, but most of us are air, earth, fire, water. And no, it does not have anything to do with astrology. It goes much deeper into the human psyche and the human soul. It goes much deeper into that. So you might want to check that out, because that will help you tremendously. But before you do anything else, first find your soul group. Once you find your soul group, you've only got 3 soul signs to choose from. And had my friend said to her friend, well, you've got to decide, are you an earth sign or are you an air sign? Because that's the easiest thing to do. Then it's not a question of, well, it's either a prophet or a visionary. because a prophet is an air sign, and if you're not an air sign, you're not a prophet. So so that's the end of that. If you're an earth sign, then you're a visionary, or whatever it is. There are three choices. So group first, soul sign next after that, because then you've only got three choices, and it's easy by a process of elimination. And I talk you all the way through it, and you really get to know and get to understand. And of course, you can always call us if you get stuck with it and say, I've read your book and I don't understand this bit or this bit, and we'll explain it to you. Anyway, so that's that. But I honestly think also, if you're asking the question, my darling, then you know deep inside of you, because there isn't a question that we can't ask ourselves that our soul will not give us the answer to, providing we know how to listen to the soul. But I think there's something within you that is saying to you, this is simply not working. When you feel inside of you that it doesn't matter how hard I try, it's just we're missing. And it's not necessarily that he's bad or she's bad, or it's not necessarily that he's selfish or she is or whatever. Got nothing to do with that. It's all about the energy, and it's about whether energy is compatible or not compatible, which is why I think Soul Signs is such an important book for those of you who are worrying about relationships or concerned about relationships, because not only does it tell you which is your most compatible, it also tells you how to correct those relationships that can be corrected. So it gives you lots of advice in that way as well. But if you are asking the question, then there is already enough doubt, within you that, it's going to end at some point, don't you? You know that, because if you're already doubting, you've tried and it's still not working, give it up, my darling, and move on, because life is too short to waste your time and your energy on someone who, for whatever reason, does not value you or that you're not compatible with. I personally, this is my feeling. I know lots of people don't feel this way, but I would rather lie in bed on my own and be lonely on my own than lie in bed with someone, with a partner who I love or who I care about, and be lonely because there's nothing coming the other way. I know which I prefer. I prefer to be on my own, in my own bed, and lonely by myself than lonely with someone else, because being lonely with someone else is a true heartbreak. And it's just, life is just too short. Take it from me, because my life is speeding on now. The only reason I'm here right now is that I'm just such a stubborn person. I'm just determined. I'm just going to keep going. Of course, my daughter and my grandson might have something to do with that as well. But life is, honestly, it's really not worth all of the angst. So ask yourself, am I lonely? If the answer is yes, then ask yourself, which would I rather be? Painfully, excruciatingly lonely and hurt and crying because there's nothing coming from the other side of the bed. And when I say, I don't mean sex, I don't mean any of that. I mean the emotion, the good energy, the loving, the caring. There's nothing coming. Or would I rather just be on my own and just read a good book or something? Because I know which I would choose. Michelle, what would you choose?
I was alone for, 8 years after my divorce, because I'd rather be alone than be lonely with somebody else.
Right. So you understand what I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on then.
All right, the next one is from Nathan, and he says, Sister Rosemary and Grey Eagle, Sister Ruth Montgomery and Arthur Ford and her spirit guides produced 7 books on aliens and the coming world pole shift. Are you aware of her and her spirit guides?
No, I'm not at all, Nathan, actually. I should check it out. I'll have a little look and check it out. I had somebody say to me the other day about what did I believe about the universe, and do I believe in just one universe, or do I believe that there are many universes out there? And I believe that for us to say, oh no, there's only this universe, we're such arrogant. Aren't human beings arrogant to suppose that we are in all of the universe, in all of the galaxies that are out there, that we are the only life form? Come on, everybody, get a grip. Um, I'm sure, I'm absolutely certain that there are other life forms somewhere out there within those many universes. What form they take, I don't know. But it's so arrogant of us to think that no, in all of the universe, in all of the many universes that are out there, because every time someone builds a telescope, scientists will say, okay, that's it, that's it now, we're at the end. And then somebody builds a bigger telescope and we discover actually we're not at the end, we're only at the beginning. There's so much more, and then there's so much more, and there's so much more. And all of that energy and all of that incredible stuff that is out there for us, and we can view it, some of it, little bit of it. It is such arrogance to say, no, look, we are the superior planet, we are the superior beings, and so on and so forth. So, but I'm actually personally not into aliens. I mean, it's interesting, but I'm so busy with my own stuff that I don't like veering off. So okay, but thank you, Nathan.
Want for, this is the name, Want for Only One.
One for only one?
She
Okay.
would like to know who is the author of Soul Signs.
Me. Da 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 da. I remember a few years ago I was in California, and I used to rent a house there for a couple of months, excuse me, every year. And the house was right on the beach, and it was just a lovely house. I became very good friends with the owners of the house, and my daughter still sees one of those young men. So hi, Patrick, wherever you are listening. Anyway, and I was there to sort of work on my next book, and I really didn't quite know where I was going or what I was doing. But Grey Eagle had been talking to me about souls and so on and so forth, and he'd often said to me, Rosemary, you are a warrior soul. And he, of course, what they say, when you are ready the teacher will come. And so, but when you are ready to ask a question, it's like kids. If a child asks you a question, it is because they are ready to know the answer. Don't fob them off and think that they're too young. So so I've always tried to, if Samantha's asked me a question, doesn't matter what about. If Reese asked me a question, doesn't matter what about. If they're asking the question, then you're ready. So I was actually, as this child comparatively, I was asking the question, well, at some point we're sitting there, we're chatting. I'm in this nice little cozy room, and I'm saying to Grey Eagle, so then so if I'm a warrior soul, what does that mean? Are there other types of soul? And he'd been waiting for me. He'd been waiting for me to ask the question, because when you ask the question, then you're ready to learn, you're ready to know more, you're ready to explore all these different concepts. And so, really, I should say, you're asking who the author is. Really, the author is Grey Eagle. But between us, it was a collaboration, as all of my books are. I collaborate with Grey Eagle, of course. Like in the kitchen, we're cooking in the kitchen. But he was able to explain all of this to me, and the energy and how it works and the compatibility. He explained to me how each soul was created, different pockets of energy, and how these different types of energy are created, how we're each one of us created from a certain pocket of energy. It's a fascinating subject. If you want to know more about that book, or if you'd like to order that book, you can get it in hardback, but I wish I had one here. They're over in by the bookcase there. But what we did a couple of years ago is I republished the book, And I actually decided I would put blank pages every so often in between, sort of, well, they're lined pages, so that you can make notes. So it's almost like it's a fascinating book, but you can also make notes in there, and you really do need to make notes as you're going along, as you're reading it, because those notes will help you to discover what soul sign you are, who you are, and who is your most compatible energy. And it will explain every single relationship that you've ever had with anybody else, no matter what that relationship will be. It explains it in detail, and you'll come away so enlightened. I often hear people say, that's my favorite book that you've ever written, because it sort of really is also a guide to what you need to be looking for in your partner or your next partner. And it explains also why your husband behaves the way he does, or why your wife behaves the way she does. And it explains things, and you get to understand that, so often it helps us to be more compassionate, and it helps us to be more understanding, because I have a friend, Jeff, who often intrudes on this program, I'm pleased to say, and he's a fire sign, and he'll often say to me, well, you know me, Rosemary, and he'll say something or behave in a certain way, and then he'll say, well, you know me, I'm a fire sign, I can't help it. So sometimes when you read these books, you'll understand that the way that you act and react to certain things, that is your nature, that is your energy, that is your soul, that is how your soul was created, and you simply just cannot help being that person. So it helps the rest of us to be much more accepting of other people's behavior. Let's move on to our next question, Michelle.
All right, the next one is from Cheryl, and she says, I live with somebody who is constantly negative. How can I protect my own spirit from being drained?
Oh gosh, that has to be draining. Well, I take it you're not going to move out anytime soon, so so it's very hard. I watched this with my daughter. I've seen it happen with myself. You live with a person, and all of a sudden their negativity sort of starts to encroach on your own, and it sort of makes you doubt yourself, and it makes you doubt who you are, and it makes you doubt the kind of a person that you are. And it's easy for other people to say, well, just be strong or just be yourself. But if you can recognize that this is what's happening, that you are in fact allowing his energy to affect you, then I think the only thing you can do, darling, is to really work on understanding, I'm not going to let him take my power away. I might love him dearly, but I'm not letting him take my power away from me. So, sort of keep yourself upbeat, do things that make you upbeat. He will at some point, he'll either come along with you, or he won't, but you keep going, and sometimes we just have to move on. We have to move forward, because, to allow someone else to take away your power is to be less than who you are. So please don't let that happen to you, my lovely.
Next question is from Betta, and she says, hi, Rosemary.
Hi.
I'm wondering how my beloved grandmother looks in the spirit world. Is she young or old? She was 91 when she died, and I'd like to say how much I love her.
Well, here's the thing that Grey Eagle is, I was not going to answer this. I was going to say, anyway. But apparently Grey Eagle has his hand on my shoulder, so I will give you this news about your grandmother. She's got, and I have heard this phenomenally cackling, wonderful laugh. So I can tell you she still has that awful laugh, which is, it's funny, actually. It's a great laugh, but, bit of a cackle. I do not, apparently she is who she is inside, and she's always been young inside. So that sort of will shine out from her. I'm asking Grey Eagle, some wrinkles, but She's not as old as you might imagine. That if I were to see her, if she were to come and actually, if you were to have a consultation with me and she was to come and see me, she would probably initially show herself to me in a way that you would recognize. But then her personality and who she really is would shine through. Uh, Tough, sparkling eyes, and a lot of fun with that awful laugh. That's the best I can give you. Let's move on, Michelle. I suddenly realise I'm not giving you a great picture, but actually it is a great picture. So there you are.
Penny is on and she says, hi,
Penny.
My cousin just passed last week and my dad and uncle are twins, so genetic brother. We're not positive on the cause of death. Is there anything I could tell my family to comfort them?
Well, I'm so sorry, first of all, for your loss, my darling. I think the best thing that I could tell you right now is that it is not possible. I keep saying this to people, and people panic about COVID, and people are panicking when they get influenza, and people panic about all sorts of things. Naturally, we're human. That's what we do. But I do not for 1 second, and this has been shown to me over and over again, I do not for 1 second believe that we die, that we leave this earth plane before our time. So no matter what it is that we leave with or from, it is our time. And I do believe also that your cousin would have been absolutely ready to go. More than that, I wish we had more time to delve into it, and we don't. So if you know of a good medium in your area, if you know of someone in that way, or of course, we do phone conversations, phone consultations, should I say. If you want to know more, then that is a way to go. But just be careful who you choose. Just be careful who you go to see, because just because somebody says I'm a medium doesn't necessarily mean that. But the best I can give you for now is that it was your cousin's time, my lovely, and nobody can argue with that. When I always say, when God calls, whether we're ready or not, we gotta go. Gotta go.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm looking at you. Of course, we're doing this remotely, and I forget you can't actually see me always because you're looking down at whatever. So sorry, Michelle. I'm ready.
We have Twiggy Leaf on today.
Good morning, Twiggy.
And she says, hey, Rosemary, good morning.
Hey.
I was wondering.
I love it when people say, hey.
I was wondering what are your thoughts on generational trauma? When we heal, do the souls of our ancestors also benefit from it?
Oh yes, I think tremendously, because our loved ones in the spirit world, our ancestors or whatever, if they see us living the way that is right for us, then of course they're happy. But also don't forget that whatever it is that we've done in our lives, whoever we've been in our lives, the regrets that we've had or what have you, we are able to deal with those, and we have help when we pass into the spirit world. We do have help for people to guide us and to steer us and to help us to figure out why we were the way we were. And one of the saddest things about doing my job is that so very, very often, and this happened recently, so very, very often people come through from the spirit world and they say things like, I'm really sorry, we didn't know, we shouldn't have treated you that way, or I was a miserable, awful person, or whatever. So many people, I talk to so many people in the spirit world who have such regrets with their lives, and I think that what we have to try to do is and I certainly try to do it. I've got lots of regrets in my life. We've all got lots of regrets, but I don't have any regrets in my parenting. I mean, there are lots of things I shouldn't have done. Believe you me, there are lots of things that I shouldn't have done. I'm not a perfect parent by any means, but I always, when I was carrying Samantha, my daughter, I was on 9 month bed rest. I was not allowed to do anything, and I became really hugely fat and what have you. And but I was not allowed to move, literally, and I had to just, stay prone the majority of the 9 months. So I had a lot of time to think. I had a lot of time to think about my childhood. I had a lot of time to think about my parents. When you're laying there on your own, you can't move, you can't do anything. It can be boring as anything. But one of those questions, when I was very protective of my baby in my tummy, because I'd already lost 3 children before and then lost a couple after and so on. So I was very protective and making sure I did the right thing to keep this one. And I was worried that, because I didn't have particularly great parents, and I didn't have a particularly great upbringing and all the rest of it. But so one of the questions I would ask myself over and over again was, what can I do to be different? What do I need to do as a parent to make sure that this child, doesn't end up as messed up as I was, or what can I give to my child that is going to make the difference? And one day I was, I was sort of paying attention, listening attentively, and I heard, in a strange way, I heard the only thing that you could ever truly give your child, which is of any real value, is simply the knowledge that they are well loved. Now, it's not enough. I realize as an adult, it's not enough to say I love you, I love you. It is your actions that create the knowledge within that child. So it's not enough for you to say I love you. It's actually that child being aware that no matter what happens, and no matter what you do or don't do, the inner knowledge, the absolute certainty that you love them. And so, we all have regrets, but the one thing I don't have regret about is my parenting and my grandparenting, so to speak, because my daughter, I mean, we fight all the time. Well, not all the time, but we have these spats and this and that, and sometimes she puts the phone down on me, and sometimes I put the phone down on her. We're mother and daughter. What do you want from me? But we have the best relationship ever, and I have the best relationship with my grandson, who loves me second best in all the world, he tells me, and his mummy comes first, of course. But it's giving your child the knowledge that they are well loved, giving your friends the knowledge that they are respected. So when you pass into the spirit world, you leave this earth with as few regrets as you possibly can. I don't know where I'm going with this. I can't even remember what the question was, but that's my question, to not have those regrets and live your life to the fullest you possibly can, so that your loved ones in the spirit world, your parents, your grandparents, whoever they are out there, they can see that you're living your life to the best, and that is a healing process for them too.
Okay, that question was on generational trauma.
I know, I got a bit carried away, but anyway. But it's also about regrets, generational trauma. I mean, so we all have trauma, so deal with it, but deal with it in a positive way. But don't let it affect your actions. Don't just don't become mean, don't become bitter, don't become angry. I know so many people do that, right, Michelle? So many people allow.
There are so many angry people out there.
Stop it. It's not worth. Life is too short. If you're on my end of things and you see people who come and they wish I'd been a better dad. I wish I'd have understood. I wish I'd have known. If only I'd been different. I'm determined that when I go to the spirit world, I'm going to have as few if onlys as possible. And if you want to heal your generational traumas, be the best that you can be, because that in itself is a healthy lifestyle, and your loved ones in the spirit world can heal through your actions and through your being better than they were. Yes.
All right, the next one is from Suzette.
Good morning,
And
Suzette.
Suzette said, "Good morning, all. Rosemary, your birthday month definitely shined kindly on you. You
Shined
look
what on?
radiant.
Shined what?
Kindly.
Oh, thank you.
You look radiant. I'm also at the end of my birthday month, but it wasn't as kind to me."
Well, look, you know, oh, I don't know what to say to you. I do. I know exactly what to say to you. Look, I did not have birthday greetings from so many people in England that I could have had birthday greetings from. I did not have flowers or cards, or you think I'd have trillions of them, wouldn't you? But I didn't. There are so many things that did not happen. But there were a few good things that happened, so, you know, that were so brilliant, and I choose to focus on those things that were good that happened, rather than thinking, you know, I've lived all this life and I've helped all these thousands of people or hundreds of thousands of people, nobody sent me a birthday card, and so on and so on. I could do that, but I choose to be grateful for what I have. I choose to be grateful for the friends that I have, and I choose to understand. I forget people's birthdays all the time. I'm just as bad, if not worse, than all of those people who never sent me a birthday card. So, so, darling, it's got to be tough, because especially when you're on your own, especially when you're alone, it's got to be tough. But try, if you can, to look at the positive. There's got to have been one thing this month that happened to you that was really, really good. Hold on to that one thing and don't let everything else get you down. And this, because we're still in May, so this, my talking to you and saying to you happy birthday, that's got to be one of those good things that happened to you. So no more wishing and hoping for things that didn't happen. Grab onto the good things that do happen and make your life, because you'll be shining by the end of the day. You'll be shining, you'll be glowing if you take what's good and run with it, and to heck with everything else.
Suzette said that she meant by aging beautifully.
But you are aging beautifully. Come on, get a grip. Look, you know, it's like the scars. We talked a few weeks ago about people who have scars. I've got two 14-inch scars running from the middle of the front to the middle of my back. Are they ugly? I'm sure they are if I look at them, but they are battle scars. Wrinkles are, you know, they tell a story. They tell of the life that we've had, good or bad, but nevertheless we've had a life. And so don't be afraid of the wrinkles, don't be afraid of the grey hair. People don't believe it. I do not dye my hair, but if you look really, really closely, you see it's getting grey in around the edges there. But you know, but that's me. But you know, I have a friend who dyes her hair. She was grey when she was in her late 20s, started going grey in her late 20s, and she dyes her hair, and it's a fantastic colour. So, you know, so there's find the good stuff. I'm told that I don't care how old and ugly you think you are. I'm told by Grey Eagle you've got just gorgeous eyes, so focus on those. Stop worrying about, you know, all the other stuff.
Are you ready?
Yes. Sorry, yes.
Nicole says, Rosemary, Nana died years ago. Janet Manel by marriage. I would like to know if she possibly has any messages. Love and light.
I didn't really understand the message. So, I don't quite understand what you're asking. I think you're asking if I can find someone in the spirit world to give you messages, and right at this moment, because we're getting to the end of time. So unfortunately, your question was asked a little bit too late. So I'm afraid I can't help you, but I can probably help you by saying I'm sure that she's fine.
Wendy has the next question. I so love Wendy's questions because I think a lot of her questions and then she asks them. And it says, in your new book, Grey Eagle Speaks, will you add a drawing of what Grey Eagle looks like? I'm so curious, or would he not like that? Because I'm sure Kay could paint him.
Well, actually, it's really funny you should say this. I'm just looking to see on the table if I can find it, but I can't. But I'll show you next week. If you remind me, I'll show you next week. Okay. If you Google, you can Google and you can find Grey Eagle Apache. Remember, there's a Grey Eagle Comanche. I think there's 2 or 3 Grey Eagles actually. It's fairly common and different tribes and so on. But if you Google Grey Eagle Apache, you'll see a photo of him. Now, a friend of mine actually, unbeknownst to me, I've got some really old drawings, and I've got some cigarette cards with this picture on, because he was at the there was a massive big meeting in 1800 and something or another, where all of the chiefs from different tribes went to meet the white chiefs and to sign this peace treaty. And he was there, and there was a guy there who was very famous in his time. He was an artist, and he drew, you know, different things, but they also took photos. But mostly in those days it was drawings. And you can actually find a drawing of him. And a friend of mine, actually, Violet in England, actually sent me for my birthday, not realizing I already had this stuff. He sent me a card. It was actually a birthday card, but it had his picture on the front there, and I was so blown away that he'd taken the time and the trouble to look him up. However, just to be clear, his picture, when you see it, does absolutely not do him justice at all. So I'm not sure if it's a true depiction of him, or if the artist just drew what he thought that Apache looked like. I don't know, but it's he is different than this. And yeah, Kay and I have talked about this before. My friend Kay, who's an artist, we've talked about this before, and you know, she's always been willing to do it, and I've always been willing to do it, but we've never gotten around to doing it. So maybe that's something that we can add to the book, Wendy. So that's a good idea. But in the meantime, if you Google but make sure it's Grey Eagle Apache, and you'll find out. But I actually have some old cigarette cards with information on the back. So you get the photo of the chief, whoever it is, on the front, and then you get the information about them on the back. The interesting thing is this, that it was at least 10 years after I knew Grey Eagle, after he came into my life. It was more than 10 years when I finally went to Arizona, and I found these cigarette cards with all these photos, and I found one of Grey Eagle Apache, and it was like, wow, you know, sort of. I mean, I knew it wasn't a figment of my imagination, but other people might have thought so. But now, hello, you know, it's recorded that he was there at this peace treaty. So that's interesting. Do we have anything else going on? Yes, Michelle.
Here's my hint of the day. You might want to put in Grey Eagle Indian Chief Apache, because there is a Grey Eagle Apache helicopter.
Oh. Okay then. Here's my little
just
tip.
Trying to help.
Here's my tip onto that, is that you can't say Indian anymore. You have to say native. Although why that is beyond me, because the word Indian, I think, is just that's who they were, and that's who they offered. Many natives still believe themselves. It's all this political stuff. You can't say the word stupid anymore, and you can't say this, that, and the other anymore. And you know, I think.
Well, I can understand how they would rather be called Native Americans. I mean, that's
Well, I'm actually not sure that it's them that would rather be called it, or whether it's, you know, some
the
politically minded
generations later.
person who says, oh, you know, we can't call them that anymore. But when I was a kid, we used to play cowboys and Indians all the time, and that's the way it was. And it wasn't a word that was derogatory in any sense of the word. So, anyway, do we have anything else going on? Because time is. Oh,
Penny said, "Thank you.
Who?
I love and trust everything you say.
Who's
Not
this?
so much anyone else. You always help. Love you."
Who was this?
Penny.
Who?
Penny.
Oh, Penny. Hi, Penny. Thank you.
Twiggy says, "Thanks. Great advice, Rosemary. I want to be a mother one day, and I also worry about how to be a good one. So thank you." And that looks like we are done. There's one from Carlos who just came in. He says, "Hello, Rosemary. Already past birthday week. What kind of job of business does Grey Eagle recommend for my happiness and success?"
Well, as we're about to shut down, I can't help you, Carlos. You should have come in earlier on. I'm so sorry. But now, let me leave you all with this. First of all, we've not got on with the competition. I have seen a few of the things, but I'm waiting on Michelle to send them all to me. It has been busy. I haven't forgotten it. I promise you I will be reading out some of your stuff, and I will also be sending stuff out. So please don't think, well, so much for that competition, because we are still working on it. So if you need to know any more about us, if you'd like a consultation, if you'd like to have healing, if you'd like to know more about it, you can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, and of course on YouTube. And please email us at rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, and we'll tell you all about us. If you want to be on the mailing list, you must request it. We will not automatically put you on the mailing list, so please request, and we shall definitely put you on there. So remember, I'll leave you with this little thing, okay, especially with our children, but with everyone in our lives. It is not what you say that counts. It is what you do. You can tell your children, don't do this, don't do that, stop this, stop that, so on and so forth. But if they see you doing the same thing, if they see, don't eat like that, and then they see you eating like that, they're going to be doing the same. So our children will learn by our example. I make it a rule. I think that on an average day, I tell my daughter and my grandson, on an average day, every single day, I love you. In my grandson's case, I love you more, and he says I love you more, and so on. At least, well, I can't count, several times a day. Sometimes it's 5 or 6, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 20, depending on how many times in the day that I talk to them. But I do talk to them every single day. Actions, it's not what we say, it's who we are. But if you don't show it, just remember this, if you don't show it, which means love, respect, kindness, empathy, if you don't show it, they don't know it. So have a very, very blessed rest of the day, everybody. Thank you for joining me. There will be no Everything is Attitude tonight, because Al told me at the last minute that it's his anniversary. So happy anniversary to Al and Christine. But we will be doing our second part of our circus story on Saturday morning. I will have with me my friend Mary Lou, who happened to come with me on my birthday night. Ooh. So you see, we're still into birthdays. We're still not done with the birthdays. It's only the 28th. We've got 3 more days to go. So on Saturday morning, I'll be telling the final part of the story. That's Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on my main Facebook page. Join me then for story time. In the meantime, again, You can email me, rosemary@rosemaryantaltair.com, and if you want to know any more about me, or you can find me on Instagram and all of those places. So in the meantime, please, please, please have a very, very blessed rest of the day. And please, all of you out there, have a very blessed and a very wonderful weekend. And we shall see you, if not Saturday, we shall be seeing you through the week. Bye, everybody.